Hello and welcome to What It Is, the show of conversations on music news, history, and culture, brought to you from Independent Arts and Music of Asheville on IamAVL.com. We're streaming live today from Echo Mountain Recording Studios in downtown Asheville, North Carolina. I'm Joe Kendrick, very glad to be your host again with an entirely new set of panelists. We're joined by Brett McCall, a producer, game designer, and former executive director of TEDx Asheville. We've also got Scott Reese of Independent Arts and Music of Asheville on the panel, Josh Rhinehart, who is a photographer, web and print designer. We'll also have on the show Michael Selburn, who is a musician, producer, manager, and lawyer. We'll have Jessica Thomason of Echo Mountain Recording Studios, and then Josh Blake, who is a musician and a founding member of Independent Arts and Music of Asheville. Today we'll explore the music that we love in conversations on two topics. We'll jump into technology and especially web streaming technology, and then we'll get into the business side of music and, as Josh Blake put it so well, explore how to make noise into sandwiches. On the first part of the show today, we talk about web technology and especially live streaming, which is a phenomenon that has exploded especially over the past few years, so that now you can very easily from your computer, from your smartphone, web stream something immediately. I'm joined by Brett and Scott and Josh. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
So I want to start with just a little look back, and my history with Brett McCall goes back to 2010 when he was an integral part of my Lingua Musica show, which was live streamed. It was kind of a music roundtable, a little bit like what we're doing right now. And those days are far different from where we're at today.
Yeah, it was fun back there doing something a little bit experimental. Back then a lot of the same rules hold true. We just tried to keep redundancy, having extra computers, having multiple cameras. Back then we didn't have a switcher, so if we wanted a different angle, we had to zoom in or we had to pan. And again, what was most important was the sound. A lot of people make the mistake of streaming video and thinking that they got to get the video quality to the supreme, and then they make mistakes on getting lapel mics correct so that you have this feedback or whatever's going on with the audio. So that would be the very first point that I'd want to make is you got to get your audio good. Nobody wants to, people don't tune in to watch your video as much as they tune in to hear what's going on.
Yeah, I remember just a great amount of terror going into that show and wondering if it was we were going to pull it off whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah, it did work.
On a DSL.
Yeah, yeah. And that was at the White Horse in Black Mountain, and they're a low tech kind of a facility, but we were able to pull it off. And since then we did another show there where we were able to stream in somebody from Haiti during a live show. So we were able to live stream at the same time we were bringing in a video signal all the way from Haiti. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but you flash forward 2 years and things have gone, it's just so many more directions. Talking with Scott and what you're doing here at Independent Arts and Music of Asheville, we're streaming now, and you got started with that idea of doing a lot of live shows in Asheville just in the spring of 2012.
Yeah. And to reiterate what Brett said is the focus has really been, about the audio quality for us. We're sort of throwing it from the hip here a little bit, but it gets better and better on the video side, as you can see from this production. But we've been focused on the audio, and that's the most important thing. And I think presently with the limitations of these third-party streamers, we're limited to even with a high-def video stream, we're limited to a 96K audio stream. But we can do really well with that now. So So as long as you get that audio sounding really good towards the 96, once you send it, you get a really nice audio stream. And when we implement, these positions in all these different bars around town, that's going to be our main focus. Is as long as we have a nice quality, signal on the audio, we don't have to worry about having 10 positions. Maybe one position will be adequate on the video. So that's our focus right now. Is just make sure we're delivering the music as it sounds. As good as it sounds, and worry about video secondary. But of course, video is becoming easier now, and bandwidth is king. And it's funny, back when I actually worked at Sony for a while, and I remember back in '92 when bandwidth was a little harder to come by, our guys in the interactive department were really excited about a real-time audio transfer from California to New York, and we were all jumping, oh my gosh, it's real time, wow, we're really moving now. And of course, now we have access to bandwidth in so many ways. Brett just mentioned to me, how we're delivering our audio. Most importantly with streaming is your upstream quality. And we found that we can deliver the best upstream with a 4G hotspot because it's so mobile for us, and it delivers such a nice, we can get up 10 megs a second, or, even upwards of 22 megs a second. So theoretically, we could use the same hotspot from the same point, delivering two different streams, at a high speed. So that's our means of doing that now. But of course, that costs money. Bandwidth costs money, and so we're working on that, and we plan wisely for our streams, and we plan wisely for our bandwidth usage. And it's been an interesting ride.
Yeah, there's a great explosion of online video and web streaming as well. But we're in a pretty much a bold new world as far as that goes, and many new things are coming along daily.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, actually, the most interesting one is, it's actually not coming. It's not very new, but it's something that this Roger McNamee has been doing with his band Moon Alice, and it's HTML5, which is, and I don't know anything about it, but what my knowledge is limited to is that I believe there's Flash embedded in HTML5, so its ability to deliver non-buffering video stream has been incredible. And I just had the opportunity to see Dave Matthews' test stream, McNamee test stream, and it was delivered on iOS, so iPhones and iPads were getting it, and the quality was incredible. And once in a while, I think my cellular tower disengaged for a second, but there was no buffering, and the quality is incredible. And I think that's where we're headed, and I think he talks about, the importance of, apps are where it's at, smartphones are where it's at now, and computers are a little more bulky, and that's how we're delivering. And HTML5 seems to be the thing that people are using. Yeah.
And on a smaller level for regional bands, just having, like you said, the wireless hotspot to travel with and go tour with, you can do it yourself with the Ustream app on your phone. You can hook up an adapter to your iPhone that lets you get better audio quality from an external source, and then you can live stream right from the Ustream app there, hooked up to your Wi-Fi hotspot.
Right.
And then you can live stream all of your shows.
The hotspot also gives you as a dedicated upstream channel. So if you're going into somebody's already existing bandwidth and you're trying to use that, depending on the event, 30 other people could be using that same bandwidth, and so you end up losing your stream when that's the one you want to be dedicated to just your project.
I think
so having that is really important.
First time we streamed, we were at KP's club, and somebody was watching a Redskins game, and it knocked us offline for a second. So then we were like, oh, we need some dedicated bandwidth here.
Yeah, something you can lock down.
Yeah. That was a test stream. Really good.
So tell us a little bit about how people are using streaming now. Obviously, we're utilizing it to a pretty high degree on this show, I would say. Can you go into some of the examples of what people are doing?
Well, actually, I hate to jump in again, but I was just saying this to Josh. One of the most incredible things that I've seen thus far with streaming, and this has nothing to do with the music business, but it was when the Occupy movement happened, and there's a young guy named Tim, I'm not sure, Timcast, it was his Ustream account, and I saw this guy stream for almost unbroken stream for almost 37 hours. And then he did it again 2 days later or 3 days later for 24 hours. And he was eating on the run, he was streaming constantly, and it started to expose this freedom of press, freedom of speech, really, because there was no more taking of this media from somebody and saying, hey, you can't have this video. It was immediately out there, as most of these companies archive immediately to the web, and you have viewers. I think, at some points he had 37,000 viewers, and obviously they were from all over the world. And don't quote me on these numbers, they could be much bigger. I doubt they're smaller, but it was just this incredible feat that this guy did, and he broke this streaming thing wide open and said, look, we have it now. We have everything live anywhere you want, anytime you want. And you see this with guys in the military, and all kinds of things. And I think that for me, that was the first step of, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. This is real independent press, And it started to bring up this question, well, this guy or that guy doesn't have press credentials, but he has a lot more viewers than that guy over there that just worked 2 weeks to get them. And, who was the press all of a sudden? I think we all are. And I think that for me, streaming really broke open with that guy and his broadcast from the Occupy movement.
Mm-hmm. And with current TV recently being bought out by Al Jazeera and Time Warner dropping them from their cable network, YouTube Live, you can go on YouTube Live and stream Al Jazeera News right now for free and watch news all day long, 24/7. So it's just cool to be able to take news and things out of the hands of, people like Time Warner who are censoring what you're going to be able to see or who's got it out there, and YouTube saying, hey, we'll put it on our stream live. And YouTube's got a lot of really interesting live streaming directions that they're going. They're slowly releasing to the public where people can live stream themselves, but they're going to be the big players, I think, in the coming year or so.
They did Bonnaroo twice, I think.
Yeah,
too.
they did Bonnaroo.
That was a free stream, and eventually it won't be free, I'm sure.
They
They're
did
smart.
Felix Baumgartner's world record skydive, had 8 million simultaneous viewers, which was the record of simultaneous viewers. They did the Olympics, 3,500 hours of live streaming footage from the Olympics, all through YouTube.
Yeah, so far we've covered political sort of activism, and we've covered some news-related stuff, some sports, music. Live music is an obvious one. Something that I'm seeing a lot of that I'm tracking is gaming. People taking their gameplay and putting it online.
Wow.
Live is a really big deal, especially as the MLG, the Major League Gamers Association, starts to build its foundation for developing a pro circuit of gamers. We're starting to see more and more pro gamers that just stream as they play their games, whether they're playing a competitive game or just a practice match. So that's starting to happen a lot more, which is kind of cool because it's live streaming is a little bit of a mix between just consuming material and actually being able to engage. If you've got somebody that's producing the event and can actually hear and communicate with the audience, then there's the ability for the audience to participate in what's going on. But then when you add a medium like gaming, where the audience is the participant, is the key part of the story, then it gets pretty exciting. I mean, I think that we're going to start seeing more and more of a blend of a one-directional live stream versus a interactive sort of a stream. Live events where you've got all kinds of different perspectives and things coming out of it.
The sci-fi writer William Gibson coined the term cyberspace, and he originally saw the internet as a way of plugging in like different gaming machines so you can play Pong against someone in Russia. And so like he saw that before it was even taking off, as we know it today with the internet, with the computers. He foresaw gaming machines being connected, so it's really interesting that you bring that up. And that like now we're starting to get into live streaming of video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step?
I think it's interaction. I think a two-way street. Right now, there's a lot of video that's being pushed out there, but I think eventually people will be able to chime in, maybe participate. I think we're going to see new forms of media that we've never really seen before, shows or whatever, where the average person at home can be a contestant, or I think it's going to be more interactive.
I think further in the future, we're starting to see 3D printing and material that's being delivered over CAD drawings, where you can build a prototype and send it up to the space station and they can actually manufacture it on the space station. Things like that are happening right now. We're starting to see holographic technology develop. I can imagine a glassed hood that you're inside of and you're using your brain to control whatever device you're in this virtual world with, and that there are people all over the globe and off the globe who are engaged in this. Who knows what that world is going to be. So I don't know what that is, but I think further in the future we're going to see this holographic, real, very sensory-rich experience that
Like
we're
Star
going to dive
Trek.
into. Yeah, very much like Star Trek. I mean, beam me up is going to be a reality because we're all going to be beams of light to begin with. Well, sort of are.
Well, I think in the initial stage here, in the near future, we're already having these infinite networks of communication, and you have these people that are sitting at their computers that are now a producer, if you will, of a show that's being fed by multiple personal live streams. So all of us in the room are throwing a different stream, but his is more interesting because it's on Josh. So this producer can just choose from all these live streams that are just by anybody in the world and choose to send that at that moment. So if you apply that to a breaking news story where there's 8 people and one person's camera is just too jiggly, well, you have another person there that happens to keep his camera still, and he has his camera on the police beating or something. So now you have this sort of infinite network of live action, and you can produce that so many different ways. So I think that's in the near future happening now, really.
Well, let's cover some of the technology as far as the beginner, somebody that's never done this, on up to somebody more advanced level. Excuse me. I'm the kind of person where I would just like to be able to do like they do in the commercial with the Samsung phone and somehow broadcast the live show that I'm watching on the billboard across the street or something. Can you actually do that? But let's talk a little bit about what people can do to get started for the first time,
right,
and on up the chain.
Right. You can use your phone now. Actually, Ustream provides a free app, and it's a matter of signing up with with an email. You don't have to become a Premier client of theirs or anything, and you can press the record button and use your camera on your phone and be streaming to the internet. It's that simple. So it's literally free if you have a smartphone. All the way up to a multi-camera shot with HD controllers and whatnot feeding to a high def signal. What's really cool, Livestream has just a really neat interface, and I guess if you were to compare the two, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but YouTube is to Vimeo what Livestream is to Ustream, sort of. And Livestream is just really pretty, but they want to deliver in high def only. So they provide a couple options for that. You can purchase some software that allows you to produce on your computer. You can actually use your phone to control a broadcaster that they sell for about $500. And you can plug a GoPro into that mini HDMI or something, and literally it's battery operated. It can fit on the shoe of a camera, and you can be broadcasting anywhere with a Wi-Fi band. So, and that's high def, and that looks really good, and people are using that a lot. And so that's an option, and these are affordable options too. And then they offer like a $8,000 portable production unit, which is like a computer and a multi-screen monitor and everything, and that's similar results, just really multicam to high def. So,
And then we could talk a little bit about what we're even using right now. We've got Scott. You can probably talk a little bit more about.
So we're actually utilizing. Edirol makes a couple cheap video and audio mixer and controller units that send to USB. That can be found by a basic HTML browser broadcaster that you can use right off the Ustream's website, or you can purchase a Ustream producer license for software that allows you to mix in advertising and movie bumps like we do, and that's really helpful. And we actually are using both of those together. So we're using a multi-camera setup with the streamer, which is an external unit. And then we're layering advertising and stuff with the Ustream Producer Pro. So, and there's multi-levels of that as well. So it's it really kind of allows you to get into it professionally, and it's really about, your creativity and some of the most interesting things actually right now are these, and I don't want to say awful, but I'm really impressed with them, house parties that people are doing with their cameras. And it's not so much the stream, as Brett had mentioned. Video is not really the thing, but to me it's become the event, because we're open to this real music experience where we're so overproduced right now in this world, and we have kids setting up their phones at somebody's house, and maybe they plug an iRig in to get a better microphone or something, but now some guy's playing this great folk music, you've never heard of him before, and it's in some apartment in Brooklyn or here in Asheville. I think we just did one recently, and it's really, that's what's special, not these things that we put so much time into. It's that that spontaneity that happens, and your ability to let people enjoy that, with these easy means of streaming. So.
And then it's also archived, so you can watch these little bands progress as musicians and see them play from their house shows to the Orange Peel to beyond, and you'll be able to see that evolve more, and it's going to be a really interesting future.
And delete them if they don't turn out badly.
There's a lot of focus on the smaller devices, and I know that there's some argument about whether or not the desktop's going to be around for a lot longer, but you can very simply, if you have a webcam on your laptop or on your computer, get the Ustream or the Livestream account and stream, just stream your head talking. So that's even simpler than using some of the smartphone technology, and it does all the same stuff. If you've got the ability to plug in audio, then you can get some really high quality audio. And any of the people that do live streaming, or where they're doing interviews in their studio or they're recording music, they'll all tell you that you got to focus on getting a good mic, get a good audio system so you can mix and handle that sound really well, and then have somebody monitoring it on the other side. Call a buddy up and say, hey, do I sound okay? Is this going all right? Because a one-man show is totally possible today, and you want to make sure that you have a little bit of redundancy in there to make sure you're getting the material out that you want.
Is anybody getting established as far as being having their own stream, like their own show? Is there anybody that you might follow?
I used to. When I was pursuing this more aggressively, I was following a couple of guys in New York. One of them was a DJ producer, and he would mix beats while he would talk with people, and people would chat in, and he would respond to their questions. Another one did just on live streaming every Tuesday from 4 to 6. He would have a show just about live streaming, and he would talk about the technology and everything. So there are a number of those, or there were years ago. I'm not up on my live streamers these days.
Audio, like I had mentioned, I love the Day Trotter, and that's really a stream, but it's an audio stream. But they do it great. They actually do some shows out of here, and hopefully it'll be video at some point, or maybe not.
Day Trotter, am I right now? Day Trotter has done some video.
They've done video before, but it seems like they're sort of focused on the music, and I think it's special to do that and stick to that niche, As far as other stuff goes, it's a little bit all over the place. I'm into this jam band world, and I know that the Grateful Dead guys, both Phil Lesh and Bob Weir, have built multi-million-dollar facilities out in California, and their focus is on streaming shows, and they've been delivering those free, which has been amazing. And I think that their idea of monetizing, and it's interesting what you just said, Brent, but their idea of monetizing is kind of more having sponsorships for the show rather than charging people for the show. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be charging for streams in the future, but there is, even for when you do an independent thing like this with your computer, there's companies like Stage It is a new one that allows you to monetize on your stream, and it could be you cooking dinner or something like that, or something like this. I think that everybody should read their privacy policies when they get on these things, because sometimes you get caught in something where you want to clear all your advertising that's on your show, or you get into legal issues. But I think that they're a pretty neat company, and I think they'll even produce a whole show. Like they'll literally show up with cameras and do something too, or they'll just give you a vehicle to take money for your stream. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff out there for independent.
Yeah, usually a lot of my live video streaming online has to do with sports and watching soccer. So a lot of them end in .ru or .eu, and that's actually an interesting place that live streaming has come to now. Is just illegal pirate streams of anything you want. TV shows that are on at the time, sports. I mean, every channel, if it's
Concerts,
on the TV, you
yeah.
can find it online for free at the same time. So that's like a whole new world that's happening as the internet speeds are getting faster. It's a lot easier to pirate that stuff for somebody to just hook up their TV at home to the internet and then broadcast that signal. I'm sure it's a lot more technical than that, but
And it's just the more people can do it, the harder it is to police too. So it's just there's so many streams happening at once.
All right.
Well, guys, we're going to move along to the next topic here in a little bit. We're going to bring in a new panel on what it is and talk about the business of music and some strategies and ideas and platforms to help musicians and professionals and fans get together and help the community and also try to stay in the black as they do it. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
It's great to have you on the show. We're going to have this word from Bread and Jam as we change over.
I think that was the thumbs up.
Nice.
Is this good right here?